Hey everybody, it's your girl El Rochelle here with Hardwood Diva, and I'm bringing back a requested H Diva TV series. I have begun doing the NBA games to watch. A couple of things happened towards the end of the year that kind of threw me out of the loop, so I wanted to make sure that I got this back going now that we're going to be having football's coming to an end slowly, and the NBA is going to start taking over more of my time and our time in general. So I wanted to make sure I got back to that so you guys would know what games to watch for the week. So first up, Sunday, January 23rd, we've got one game. I'm very sure that has a lot to do with the fact that there are two very important football games on. So they're like, no point in wasting our time doing that. So the only game we have up is going to be the Indiana Pacers versus the Denver Nuggets. That game's going to be at 5 p.m. I do believe it's a League Pass game. So if you don't know if you'd be able to watch it, try and, check out highlights or things like that. Next up, Monday, January 21st, we have Oklahoma City Thunder versus the New Orleans Hornets. Now, these are two very good teams. Have some great point guard play with Russell Westbrook of the Thunder and Chris Paul of the New Orleans Hornets. Two teams that are definitely up-and-coming teams in the league right now. A lot's going to still be seen, at least for the Hornets, whether or not Chris Paul is going to make the decision to stay with the team. But I definitely like this team. This is definitely going to be a game that I think will be interesting. It's going to definitely be one of those games that looks to possible playoff matchups also, because the Hornets are definitely doing well and the Thunder are doing well. So make sure to check that game out at 5 p.m. Tuesday, January 25th, we have two games. The Los Angeles Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. If you've watched any of my previous ones and have seen anything on my website lately, I love Blake Griffin. I think this guy is definitely one to watch out for. Not going to say he's the best power forward in the league right now. But he's definitely on the rise. This is a guy that is he sees what he needs to improve in his game, and he's making the efforts to do so. Slams whenever he gets the chance. He's always driving. Definitely trying to slowly but surely create a better outside shot to continue to make himself a bigger threat. I see him being the Amari type. The type that is slowly learning what are the skills that I need to no longer have those deficiencies that people are playing upon. He's continuing to have double-doubles. This is a guy you definitely want to see. And the Dallas Mavericks are a team that now that they have Nowitzki back and definitely worked him into the lineup a lot better, this team is definitely going places. They're doing a lot. This is a good team to watch, so it should be a very good game. That one's going to be at 5:30 p.m. Then you have the Utah Jazz versus Los Angeles Lakers, two of the top teams in the West, two teams that seem to play well with one another. Definitely another possibility at a playoff matchup, so you always want to go check that one out. So check that game out at 7:30. Wednesday, January 26th, we have the Clippers versus the Houston Rockets. I like watching the Houston Rockets play. This is a good team. And whenever I get the chance to watch the Clippers and Blake Griffin, I definitely say go ahead and do so. So check that game out at 5:30 p.m. Then second up, the Utah Jazz, or rather the San Antonio Spurs versus the Utah Jazz. Top two teams in their division. That game is going to be going on at 6:30 p.m. on ESPN. So this is going to be the first one that's a nationally televised game. So go ahead and make sure to check that out on Wednesday. And then we have Thursday, January 27th. Two nationally televised games. Both are going to be on TNT. That's going to be the Miami Heat versus the New York Knicks. Right now, the Heat are once again on a downslide. Not as bad as they were before, but they're definitely not playing as well as they had played on that streak that they had. Was like 21-2 or something crazy like that. But they're definitely still kind of working out the kinks, I would say. Learning when someone's missing, how to play, all that kind of stuff, and just seeing where everyone's going to fit in perfectly. That game again, TNT at 5 p.m. And then second up, you have Boston Celtics versus Portland Trail Blazers. The poor Trailblazers, honestly, it seems like everything that can go wrong goes wrong with them. Odin's out. Brendan Roy's out now. Marcus Camby's out. It's just like, are you serious? Come on, guys. But, I mean, they're still playing pretty decent. I mean, they did a good job versus the Clippers, and I know some people say the Clippers, but Clippers are definitely a team that's on the rise. Whether or not they'll make it to the playoffs, it still remains to be seen because of the fact that, they started off bad. But the Trailblazers beat a very good Clippers team. So Definitely watch that game with the Celtics and the Trailblazers, 7:30 p.m. on TNT. Friday, January 28th, we have 3 games to watch. First up is going to be the New York Knicks versus the Atlanta Hawks, 2 of the middling kind of teams in that Eastern Conference. So these playoffs, they could be a possible playoff matchup, watching those 2 teams. I like watching the Hawks. They're very interesting teams to watch play. And I definitely am, excited to see what the Knicks are doing. It's really good when New York has good basketball again. So want to make sure to watch that game at 4:30. Then you have Orlando Magic versus the Chicago Bulls. Derrick Rose is on a tear right now. Definitely an MVP candidate. Orlando is just slowly but surely putting the pieces together that they have now and just making a run for it, and definitely proving why I still think they're going to be one of the top 2 teams in the end for the Eastern Conference. So go ahead and check that game out at 5 p.m. Then you have the Boston Celtics versus the Phoenix Suns, and that was at 7:30 p.m. and it's going to be on ESPN. The Suns, even though they made that trade with the Magic, a lot of people are still saying there should possibly be another trade that includes Steve Nash, and not because he's bad, but because he probably wants to start moving towards that, getting close to retirement. You want to start making that push for a championship. And this team is rebuilding, so that may not necessarily be what he has right now in Phoenix. But the Suns, when they do put it together, they do put on quite an engaging game, especially when they're at home. So this should still be an interesting game to watch. So make sure to catch that one, 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. Then finally, Saturday, January 29th, we have the Atlanta Hawks versus the Dallas Mavericks. These 2 teams played earlier in the year. They had a pretty decent game. It's always interesting to watch, some top teams in each of the conferences going against one another. So I think this should be pretty good, watching the Hawks and Dallas. 2 of those teams that are right on the cusp, kind of right there, near the top tier of their conferences, and definitely want to see what they have to offer. So check that game out. It's going to be on NBA TV, and that one's going to be at 5:30 p.m. So there you guys go. Those are the NBA games to watch for the week of January 23rd. Let me know what you think. Bye.